Here's why the Wollongong Wolves' new home ground for the Australian Championship is littered with tragic irony. Over 20 years ago, the Wolves were on top of the world, having won the OFC Champions League in 2001 and back-to-back National Soccer League titles. But disaster was quickly looming, which would see the Wolves coerced out of its home ground and left homeless for over a decade. In 2002, the Wolves were convinced by local authorities, the state government, the Wollongong University and the St George Illawarra Dragons to leave its traditional home at Brandon Park. The university wanted to create an innovation centre, and it chose Brandon Park as the site for this new campus. At the same time, the Dragons were looking to get major upgrades to WIN Stadium. The trust that administered both WIN Stadium and Brandon Park needed the Wolves to come over to WIN Stadium. But there was a problem because the Wolves had a lease at Brandon Park until the end of the 2008 season. But despite having legal rights to remain at Brandon Park, the Wolves decided to leave its traditional home at Brandon Park. But its move to WIN Stadium fell apart after a couple of years, and the Wolves were left homeless, as works had already started at Brandon Park. Football South Coast tried to work with Wollongong City Council to build a new ground at Lysart's Oval in Fig Tree, but once money ran out, the project was ultimately abandoned. So the Collegians Rugby League team came along and purchased that ground for $1.7 million and was able to finish the project by 2013. So the Wollongong University got what it wanted. So did the St George Illawarra Dragons. Hey, even the Collegians Rugby League team got itself a new ground. And that new ground? Well, that happens to be where the Wolves will be playing their 3 Australian Championship group stage games. So Wollongong University, the St George Illawarra Dragons, they got what they wanted. And hey, even the Collegians Rugby League team got themselves a new ground. And that ground, well, that's the ground the Wolves will be playing its 3 Australian Championship group stage games. That very ground that was meant to be theirs. It's truly ironic, isn't it?